Hello, YouTube. I'm Dr. Tactical, and the doctor will see you now. Welcome to our Thanksgiving special. And today, what better way to ring in the special than to have a turkey? And why a turkey? Well, it's Thanksgiving. And also, a lot of great things come from turkeys. What comes from turkey? How about the Stoeger? Not just a Stoeger, but a safety checked and cleared Stoeger 9mm, the STR-9. So we have here a couple guns, 4 guns rather. All have been safety checked and cleared. Take a look. Okay. Now, the Stoeger has an interesting lineage here. So the Stoeger is a wholly owned subsidiary of Benelli USA. But Benelli is in turn owned by the Italian firearms conglomerate, Beretta, and whatever their official name is. So what we have is a Italian gun company that owns an American gun company that owns a Turkish gun company that is manufacturing guns that apparently are mimicking an Austrian company. So interesting. So before we get into the Stoeger, I just want to point one interesting thing out, which is that I just got back from Dallas, and my daughter's a lacrosse player. She's in high school, so we go and watch her tournaments, and we do that a lot on weekends. And of course, that keeps me out of USPSA tournaments, and I think that's significantly affected my standing in USPSA. That and my lack of talent have really held me back. Anyway, I still enjoy it. So, as time goes on, I will get more into the USPSA. But while I was in Dallas, I had the opportunity, because whenever I travel, if I'm in a gun-friendly state, I like to sort of branch out while I'm there and meet people. And I had the opportunity to go and meet these guys. I met them at the DFW Gun Range and Training Center in Dallas, Texas. This is not an ad. It's just simply me. I went out there, met these guys. They were super nice to me and gave me an opportunity to just sort of walk around and check out their facility. And it's always fun talking to gun guys wherever you are. So I just wanted to give them a little shout out there in Dallas, Texas at the DFW Gun Range and Training Center. All right, back to the Stoeger. So the Stoeger is clearly an attempt to mimic the Glock. So that's popular now. It's been popular for decades, really. But now you've got a lot of companies like Shadow Systems that are coming out and taking all the best of the Glock and then trying to add more to it and make them even better. And Stoeger actually threw its hat into the ring trying the same type of thing. But Stoeger took an interesting approach. They actually also are trying to do it at a price point that is really surprisingly low. This gun can be had, I believe, for south of $300. So that's pretty impressive. I have to say, I had the opportunity to shoot this, and well, I'll let you take a look. Okay, so before you start typing in the the comment section, yes, my daughter's lacrosse is not the only thing that holds me back from doing well in USPSA or any of the other matches for that matter. So, but no matter what, I still enjoy it. It's all about the fun. I love shooting at anything that it's not shooting back at me. All right, so back to the Stoeger. So this gun is clearly an attempt to mimic the Glock, and they've done a couple things really right, and I want to go through that. So let's look at here. This is the Glock 23, the Stoeger STR-9, right? STR-9 is going after sort of the in between the Glock 17, Glock 19. So the Glock 23 is the exact same size as the Glock 19. The frame is the same. So let's look at this. Now this is a Generation 3. Glock's Generation 3 is notorious for these finger grooves. And they are either completely hated or they are people are ambivalent to them. I've never heard somebody say, "Oh my God, my hand just melts into the Glock," like they would say about an HK or they'd say about a Walther. You don't hear it. You hear people either are like, "Yeah, it's not so bad. I don't hate it," or "I hate those things. I can't shoot them." So, and I can understand why, because these ridges are very unforgiving. They are mandating where your fingers are going to go, and if your finger sizes are different than, say, mine, you may have more of a challenge, and these ridges can make this really miserable for you. Whereas the STR, these has finger grooves, which I was surprised. I'm like, why? Since Glock has now gone the route of getting rid of the finger grooves for the most part because they accepted the negativity that went along with it, why would somebody mimicking put them back on? Well, when you look at these grooves are more suggestions as to where your fingers should go. They're not hard ridges. And if you deviate in any direction, it's really not uncomfortable or painful. It just sort of guides you into an overall position, which is really nice. Also, the cutaway here, the relief that you get under the trigger guard is substantially more significant, I think, on the Stoeger than I find it on the Glock. And it really lets you hold the gun up higher. Bore axis is all similar on these guns, but really by holding up higher, you get better grip. And I have to say the texture on these grips is really nice. The grippiness is where it needs to be. They put some really aggressive stuff here on the back strap, but then not as aggressive, but still useful texturing or stippling on the sides of the grip and in the finger grooves. And if you're carrying, this is really nice because this is the area that tears up your clothes and tears up your body. Not so much the backstrap area. Backstraps are interchangeable. However, because of the price point of this gun, they only send you with the back, or at least the models that are. By the way, I didn't mention both of these models that I have here on loan to me by the Gun Tree Club of Maryland. Thank you, Neil. And the models that he lent me do not come with multiple backstraps. They are interchangeable, but you have to. I guess you have to. Company must sell them. It also only comes with one magazine, and we'll talk about that in a moment too. All right. So the grip really is very nice. I have to say this is an upper tier type of grip feeling that I'm getting from this gun. So I like that. That is an improvement. The slide lock or slide release, they elongated a little bit, but I have to say when I hold the gun, my thumb does not or cannot really rest on it because it's still smooth against the side. It's usable, but I'm not going to ride it and stop the gun from locking open. So that's nice. The takedown lever here, or takedown slide, is pretty much, as best I can tell, identical to the Glocks. So you've got on the slide, you've got some really aggressive slide serrations, and they've got them in the back, the posterior portion. They've got them in the anterior or front portion, and it's a heavy spring in there. But these serrations, it looks like while they were stealing from Glock, they deviated over and went and stole from Walther and their new PDP. It's not quite as aggressive as that, but it's still, these are really usable, very functional. Also, unlike the Glock, which has a proprietary rail underneath of it, this has a Picatinny rail, more universal, which is nice. So another thing, on the regular standard STR-9, this has a bar for indicating if you have a round in the chamber. Now, the STR-9 SC, or subcompact, which is sort of the equivalent of the Glock 26. Let's see something, yeah. Is actually this particular model. It's not all subcompacts, but this particular model, I think all the models can be ordered with a cutout, a slide cutout for an optic. So we have a slide plate on here. or cover plate. And interestingly, if you look at the cover plate, it has flathead screws on it. You don't see that very often. Another interesting thing is showed the one that didn't have the plate has the bar here, and the one that does have the plate has a window. So that's how you check to see if you have a round in the chambers through the little window. I'm not gonna go off for a long tangent on this, but I will say, what's his name? David at the Humble Marksman. Really, I like his channel a lot, and he has been on top of this at the get-go, and he always points out that these little holes, these windows to check the shell, or to check and see if you're loaded, have one in the chamber, those actually are gas ports they turn into when you shoot, and that comes up, and if you have an optic on there, that is not optimum. That is not what you're looking for, because the gases are going to come up. You're going to get schmutz on your lens of your optic, and you're going to have to clean it off. It's not good for it. It's a bad idea. As a rule, if you have an optic, you don't want to have a window that opens up and squirts gas right into it. So anyway, I get why they did it here. It's because they don't have the room that they have on the other one for the bar. The optics plate sort of comes right up to it. But I would rather them do what Glock does, where you can just sort of run your finger over the ejector there. Okay, or extractor, whichever. I get confused. I'm sure somebody will give me a dissertation in the comments section. Please feel free. Okay, let's talk about the trigger. So, actually, let's start with the Glock trigger. The Glock trigger is a Glock trigger. It's the same in all the Glocks. We all know it. You pull back, you get to your wall, then you just sort of go past it. It's heavy, it breaks, but it's crisp. You know what happened. You come back, it's audible, it's tactile. You're at that wall, boom. Okay. So this is where Stoeger is, this is where the price, you get what you pay for sort of comes into play here. Because this trigger, as we pull it down, we got to the wall. Let me get this up here so you can see again. So we come to the wall, and then more travel, bang. Come back, we're at a wall. So the return is crisp, audible, and you are at the wall. The wall does break as I get to it. Well, there's still play. There's still some play. It's more so than the Glock. But on the initial pull, when you're not returning after fire, but when your initial pull is really deceptive, because you get in there, you pull, you get to your wall, and then look at that. Look how much travel I've got. So it's really not predictable. I'm sure with practice, you can own that. Now, here's the thing. You can put different triggers in these guns. I don't know what this is interchangeable with. You can polish triggers. There's all kinds of things that can be done to upgrade a trigger. And a trigger coming in a gun at this cost point, it's kind of hard to complain about. I shot it, as I said, and I have to say none of this was an issue when I was shooting. I was having fun. The gun was really impressively accurate, and coming out of my hands, that is impressive. So I can't complain about the accuracy, and really the trigger. What I'm talking about now with the trigger is stuff that I notice when I'm here in my Dr. Tactical lair. This is not stuff that really I notice when I'm. When the endorphins are going and I'm shooting and I'm having fun. I really don't, I'm not bothered by this trigger. But I have to point out, it is a lower end trigger. One other thing I want to point out here also, when people copy Glocks, and even when they don't copy Glocks, even when they just want to steal something from a Glock, it's the magazines. Glock magazines are ubiquitous. So they're easy to get, and they're cheap, and they're reliable as hell. You've got the classic polymer outside with the metal inside, And while that's been a problem because it's been harder to get as many bullets in, since SIG revolutionized the capacity game, Glock has sort of fallen a little backwards on that because their magazine doesn't allow for, because of the thickness, for as many rounds. But that said, you're still getting a decent number of rounds, and you're getting a really reliable magazine. So most companies, a lot of companies, they come up with new guns, they come up with mimicking guns, really try to incorporate Glock magazines into their guns because Glock mags are so reliable. So Stoeger, while they're mimicking the Glock, came up with their own proprietary magazine. And here it is. So I think this is made by Metgar, but I'm not 100% sure. But it's all metal, and this is a State of Maryland magazine, 10 rounds. Thank you, Maryland. Anyway, but these magazines are, I forgot offhand what the capacity is. I think it's 17. But you can get a lot more rounds in these magazines. But that's not even, I think, why they did it. I think they did it because that's what allowed them to change the grip angle. These magazines give them more play with space around it because you can make them a little thinner. And I think that really, and by the way, the magazines eject beautifully. It's just fun to do. So that's not a problem. But these magazines are nice, high quality magazines. However, I haven't looked into how difficult they are to get and what their cost point is. If they are Metgar, I'm probably going to bet these are at least $40. So they're definitely more expensive than the Glock mags, and they're going to be harder to come by. Just something to keep in mind. Would I buy this gun? Yes, I would buy this gun. You would not see it in a tournament. You will not see me probably even bring it to the range again. I borrowed one to shoot at the range today. The reason I would buy a gun like this is, I'm not saying I do this, but I know that people who are protective of their homes may choose to have multiple guns hidden throughout their house in case they don't have a gun on them and a situation should arise. And in that situation, you're not looking for a sniper gun. You're looking for a reliable gun that's relative, that you can just sort of put somewhere and leave it, and it'll be fine. And God forbid, if the time comes that you need it, you have it. I think this gun fits that usage really nicely. It's a nice gun to have. It's an extra gun to have. It would not be my primary. If I were new to the gun game and I wanted to dip my toe in the water and just sort of get something, this is a great option. It's a very reasonably priced gun, and you're getting what appears to me to be a pretty reliable and decent gun that you also have the ability to upgrade if you want to play with the trigger. I don't know what that actually entails on this particular model, but I'm sure it's easy enough to find out. So yeah, I would consider buying this gun either to have around the house or if you're new to the game, because it's why not? For that cost, and just having it is just an additional peace of mind. Anyway, I'm Dr. Tactical. I want to thank you all for coming. Happy Thanksgiving. Please, if you haven't already subscribed, it really helps out the channel. I'm going to try, as I do some more traveling, to go to more gun stores and ranges and give shout outs just to the ones that I think are really doing it well. And if you are a facility like that, please reach out to me in the comments section. Anyway, thank you all. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm Dr. Tactical. Dr. Tactical, out.